Good morning, Coach Kelly here, ready to share with you some fun stuff with our food, right? So I promised you last week that here in all the different spaces that I will be sharing with you all about how to have fun with our food, right? Some of us get bored with our food. Some of us even just eat not enough. And that was something that I've been thinking about and talking about with clients and all that stuff recently. And so I wanted to be able to share more with you about how we can have fun with our food. Also, something to let you know before we start getting into this real quick is that the group coaching this month, which is twice a month on a Tuesday at noon, and if you're not able to hop on live, then it's always recorded. You have access to the recording as well as access to previous months of recordings and all that stuff. So when you can find that information over at Purely Simple Organic Living's website under programs, down the bottom is group coaching. So if you want to learn more about the group coaching that I provide, definitely go and hop in there, because this month group coaching, we're going to definitely be diving into my pantry and my refrigerator and your pantry and your refrigerator, how to get creative, right? All right, so before we talk about getting creative, I want to talk a little bit about eating too little. All right, sometimes we think we are eating enough for nourishment for our body, but in reality, we're eating too little. All right, so a lot of times, and again, I don't like the word diet, so I don't use the word diet, I use lifestyle, because diet means that we're starting and stopping something, right? And it tends to, especially with us with women, it tends to cause this moralizing of food. And food's not moral. Food is not good nor bad. It is either high vibration or low vibration, right? So a lot of times when a person is on a health journey, right, and they are trying to, say, lose weight for whatever reasons, hopefully for healthy reasons, right, and not for an aesthetic reason. But what happens is that they end up cutting too many calories, all right, because they're wanting to get really quick results. Well, this can create all kinds of havoc in the body. There's so many different things. It can actually affect your muscle tone, your muscle mass, which is super important for our bone density and for our flexibility. It can actually affect our bone density, period, directly. So there's lots of different things, and we could go on gazillion tangents on that, but we're going to just concentrate on why eating too little, or what are some of the indicators that we're eating too little. So some of the things, a lot of times when a person is diving into making some changes with their lifestyle and they're quote unquote dieting, right, and they're trying to do it too fast, they're trying to be too rapid about it, they might find themselves gaining weight. And so then they go into panic mode and they start eating even less. And that definitely is going to create havoc, right? So we're going to talk about what are some indicators that you know you're eating too little. You're always thinking about food. You're always hungry. All right, so what's super interesting is a study was done during World War II where they did some deprivation experiments and all that stuff. And the key thing that was found was that participants began to obsess about food. They collected recipes, cookbooks, and finding it difficult to think or talk about anything else. And so if you find yourself consumed with the idea of the next meal or snack, or getting distracted searching for recipes, restaurants, menus, cooking shows, social media, you might be eating too little. Now, it doesn't mean that, so I'm a foodie. I love finding new recipes. I love diving into my kitchen. But if we're obsessing, that's all we're thinking about. That's when that could be an indicator that we're eating too little. All right. And so also understanding that when we're obsessing, it combines with dietary plateaus, fluctuating of our weight gain, and really needing to look at what is our daily caloric intake. And I don't necessarily adhere to the whole counting of calories. I don't think that is, and that we can dive into another video about that. It's about macro and micro nutrients. It's about, really making sure I'm maximizing the nutrition that you're putting in your body. So, second indicator that you're eating too little is that you're having trouble sleeping. We see this with our clients all of the time, all right? And that you're having trouble with sleeping. When we are depriving ourselves of our nutritional needs, not getting in as much calories that our body needs and nutrition that it needs, it can interrupt our sleep-wake patterns. So again, during that study of World War II, they were able to see that eating and sleep disorders were observed in that same study. So researchers found that the restoration often restores normal patterns, meaning that making sure you're nourishing yourself properly. All right, so one of the things that Christina and I talk about a lot is, if you're finding that your sleep isn't super spot on, is to allow yourself to eat a dense or carbohydrate rich snack about an hour before bedtime, and that can help with the serotonin levels, with the melatonin levels, and all of that stuff, all right? And again, in the class, we talk about the different types of ways to be able to, what are some really good nutritional choices, or what are some higher vibration nutritional choices that have that low, slow release for the body, all right? So the third indicator that you're eating too little is that you're angry and restless. So if you're not eating enough, you're going to notice that you become tired and cranky, right? And when the body is not getting enough nutrients, blood sugar levels drop, right? Causing a lack of focus, leading to frustration. So if you experience these while dieting, right, or making lifestyle changes, your body is probably telling you that you need to eat, right? And especially a lot of our clients come to us and they are already struggling with sleep. And so the last thing we need to do is to be reducing our calories or obsessing about what our food intake is, so much as that it is going to affect our sleep, right? The fourth indicator, which I thought was super interesting, that you're eating too little, is that you're constipated. So the pendulum on this swings both ways, right? We can get constipated sometimes when we are eating too much because there's not enough fluid in the bowels that allows the food to move around and do this digestion and all that stuff, right? We get constipated because we might be low in potassium, low in lots of different other super important minerals and stuff like that. And those are things that we test out at Purely Simple Organic Living. Christina's really good with the spit and pee test. Test that out and everything to be able to see some of that stuff, right? But again, one of the indicators that you're eating too little can be that you're constipated. So when you're not eating enough, the body tries to slow the digestive process to preserve your energy. And slowing of the digestive tract can lead to constipation. And constipation can also result from not eating enough fiber, which is common a lot of times with dieters who are eating too little. They're not really focusing on what the nutrition needs are. They're just focusing on having as little as possible on the plate. All right, so those are some of the tips, the 4 main tips of knowing that you are eating too little. So now let's talk about how to have fun. All right, rather than showing you what is in my pantry or my refrigerator, I'm going to be saving that for group coaching. Again, if you want to hop on this month for group coaching, definitely go to our website, purelysimpleorganicliving.com, and under programs, there's going to be group coaching, and it tells you all about it, and it's a lot of fun. Let me tell you what, because it really and truly, we have a topic of focus, but it's group-led. It really and truly, you are in charge of asking the questions, and then I help you, discern through all of that and whatnot. So some of the fun ways that we get inspired in our house, in our kitchen, is we have lots of fun recipe books, all right? And it might be recipe books that I'm very visual. I like picture type of books, but it might be a recipe book that we only use 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 recipes out of it, but it's fun to get creative, all right? So we are movie buffs. We love movies. We love different types of series. And so 2 of the type of cookbooks that we actually have in our home is the Star Wars Galaxy Edge cookbook and the unofficial Harry Potter cookbook. All right. And you can find all sorts of themes, right? Any of these, I am sure there is a Marvel cookbook out there. And so there might be some recipes in it that absolutely would never even use or do. But it gives us ideas to be creative. That's what's super fun about when you have themed cookbooks like this, is it allows me to look at, okay, so I have certain different recipes marked that look interesting to me. So let's find one that would be really fun. So here, a Rotan wrap. So it's gonna be something kind of similar to a taco, but it allows me to see what are they doing that's a little bit different with the seasoning, stuff like that. Now, since our household is gluten-free and dairy-free, I would be looking at what are some of the modifications. I have a really great flour that I enjoy using that is equal to regular flour. It's a gluten-free flour, and you can learn more about that in Christina Sessom's Country Baking cookbook, and you can also find that at the website. Super fun to be able to just dive into some really fun country cooking, right? So anyways, so here, look at this. Glow Blue Noodles. Tell me that's not fun, all right? So you might say, well, Kelly, that's gonna be blue dye. Well, it doesn't have to be blue dye. It doesn't have to be unnatural. You can go to stores like Natural Grocers and find they have different food colorings that were derived from vegetables and fruits and stuff like that. You can also do your own fruits and vegetables of coloring and all that stuff. You can soak things in beets to be able to get a red hue. You can soak things in blueberries to get a blue hue. Super fun, just ways to be able to be creative, right? So let's look at the Harry Potter cookbook. Now, it doesn't have nearly as many pictures as the other one, but like here, it has a recipe for fried tomatoes. Let's see if we can actually get that up there. But it doesn't have a picture for that. So then I'm gonna look for pictures because I like pictures like I shared with you. And any of you who've been to Harry Potter World, oh my goodness, like super fun, crazy, different things. So here we've got chocolate frogs, so I can learn how to make my own chocolate frogs. All right, so those are some fun themed cookbooks. Let's look at some other cookbooks that will just give creative ideas, right? And again, you don't have to follow a recipe word for word. Be willing to just look at a cookbook and at a recipe and think outside of the box, to be able to just think creatively. Imagine in your mind the palette, right? You will be able to get to a place where you're able to look in your refrigerator, look in your pantry, see what you have, and imagine those being married together. I don't know if any of you have ever watched the movie Ratatouille. If you have not, watch Ratatouille, because this movie is so much fun and it gives you the opportunity to explore how much fun food can be, all right? So then another favorite cookbook I have is Nom Nom Paleo. All right, so it gives everything with an Asian twist. Super fun. Again, she gives lots of really great pictures. All right, but here, this was the first time I thought about making deviled eggs in a totally different, non-traditional way. All right, so now some of my deviled eggs are made with avocado, with guacamole. I have a buffalo wing style deviled eggs where I mix in the hot sauce and the blue cheese instead of some of the other traditional things. Just being super creative. So think of I do pizza style deviled eggs where some of the toppings that are my favorite toppings that go on a pizza end up going in the deviled egg mix instead, right? So again, just thinking outside of the box. And then two other of my favorite cookbooks. So this one's an Ayurvedic vegan kitchen cookbook. And what I like about this one is it is all vegetables, all right? But then I add my extra, like for example, this cashew, their main protein and some beans and all stuff. But then what I do is I add an egg on top of it, or I might add some fish with it. Just depending on what I'm in the mood for. All right, so those are some creative, and then the final, inspiralized, right, is I really like doing vegetables into noodles, and it is so creative and so fun. So here we have the traditional of where we see, let's say, zucchini noodles, right? Let's see, there we go, zucchini noodles. And you can do jicama strings. All right. Let's see what else could be super fun. Blueberry sweet potato waffles. Tell me that doesn't look yummy. All right, so get creative. Be creative. Look at whatever cookbook might look inspiring to you visually, or Pinterest, right? We know Pinterest, we know Instagram, they all have amazing just visuals for us, and use it as your inspiration to become creative in your kitchen, all right? I look forward to sharing more with you throughout the rest of this week and into next week, and I hope that you are gonna hop on the group coaching because we're gonna have super fun this month. All right, you take care and God bless.